Te Speaker.
Larissa Wall.
Tēnā koe te māngai
Tēnā
o te
koe.
whare. It is my pleasure as a member of the Justice and Electoral Select Committee to speak in support of this private international law, choice of law in tort bill. Congratulations, David Bennett, for proposing what Chapman Tripp did say was a smart, no-frills lawmaking, but bringing New Zealand into step with comparable jurisdictions. So there's no doubt that this bill is valid and it's needed, and so I'm happy to stand up in support of you as a Member of Parliament proposing this legislation. Congratulations. The word tort is derived from the French word for wrong. Like, I'm doing definitions here because I don't know very much about this area either. But what tort is a civil wrong that causes someone else to suffer loss or harm, resulting in a legal liability for the person who commits the tortuous act, a tortfeasor, who apparently is the wrongdoer. And so a civil wrong is an act against another person or their property. So obviously what we're trying to do is to be very clear about what jurisdiction will apply. And I found another interesting blog about this bill and its relevance, and it was a guy called Timothy Lindsay from Lowndes, Jordan, and he said New Zealand companies doing business with foreign parties and foreign companies doing business in New Zealand will be particularly interested in this bill. So I wanted to highlight that. And he said, because the bill aims to clarify and simplify the New Zealand law, conflict of law, or private international law rules that apply to actions brought in tort. And the issues that we're talking about are negligence, tortuous interference, defamation, and breach of privacy. And the law of the jurisdiction in which the events constituting the alleged tort took place. So that's what this bill is going to be able to clarify and simplify for us all. And the other point that Timothy Lindsay made was that it will require New Zealand companies to do their homework and understand the tort law of the land and the place they are doing business. So actually that's a good thing. People should know the laws of the land in which they are doing business. So if this piece of legislation highlights that for New Zealand companies and makes them think about it, then actually that's a good thing for New Zealand businesses. Or, he said, that parties can avoid both existing common law of law rules by incorporating carefully drafted governing law provisions into their commercial contracts. So I guess that's the other thing that this piece of legislation will do, is to highlight that in the contract that New Zealand companies have with overseas companies, how they're going to deal with it themselves. And so the merit of this piece of legislation is actually in providing the clarity that everybody needs when they conduct business. So I want to congratulate you, David. I think that we all strive in this House to make things better for the people that we're here to serve. And so this, for me, isn't a flippant piece of legislation. It's actually a very relevant piece of legislation, and I'm happy to be on the select committee that will be hearing submissions. I am really interested in the number of submissions we will receive. Maybe we should run a little bit of a, what do you call it, when we all put in $5 and the closest a sweep. Maybe a sweep would be really interesting, because I'm really now interested in the different areas, obviously companies, but other people that this piece of legislation is relevant to who are going to make submissions. And we could be really surprised. We could have hundreds of submissions to our select committee. We just don't know. But it will be fascinating, I think, for the House to engage in serious discussion about this piece of legislation. So I won't take too much more time other than to say I commend the bill to the House, Mr. Speaker. Kia ora.